because I received an email this morning. It was my DNA heritage report. And as I was reading it, it brought a tear to my eye. Literally, I started getting very emotional. And what makes it even more emotional is as I'm sitting out here just enjoying life, just enjoying my family, watching my husband bond with the children, cutting their hair. I mean, this is just like so peaceful. And the thing about it is, there have been so many people, even close family members, that would not be okay with us being at peace. There are people who would rather us suffer, rather us struggle, because if they're not happy, they don't want anyone else to be happy. And one thing about my husband and I is that we're going to do what we're going to do, right? We made plans for our family. We have talked about the things that we wanted to do even before we got married. So we knew that we were going to do some traveling abroad, and we wanted to take our kids to expose them to some things. There have been people who have told us that we take our kids too many places, we're spoiling them. And these people, believe it or not, like, we have never asked anyone for anything. We've never asked for help with a bill, not even one bill. We don't ask for child care. Even when my mom took care of Kai for the first year, we paid her, and she had 2 cars given to her free of charge. So we've never been handed anything since we've been married. Everything that we've done, we've worked our ass off to do without the support of many. So it's just funny how people still want to have these conversations about what we're doing and what we shouldn't be doing and how we're raising our kids when they have absolutely shit to do with what we got going on. And this conversation came up again yesterday because my husband mentioned that a friend of his called after their class reunion, and apparently people had been talking, people that don't really know us. And apparently my husband's been in jail. That's why he hasn't been seen. What was the other one, Harrison? You was in jail and...
I'd fallen on hard
times. Yeah, that he had fallen on very hard times and damn near homeless and all that. I'm like, we ain't never, ever been in that situation. But it shows you how people talk. And you have to continue to do you, no matter what other people think, what they say. I don't care if it's your mama, your grandmama, your children, anybody else. Don't let anyone discourage you or tell you anything any different. Everything that we have done has been manifested. It has been discussed. It has been worked hard for, and we make no apologies for that. And what made me emotional this morning is that I got my fragment report, my DNA fragment report, and I'm going to read a little bit of it to you. It says, your life path mirrors the migration of your ancestors, but with a crucial difference. Theirs were forced, while yours are chosen. From Arkansas to Virginia, from Mexico to South Africa, you have carried your family's legacy across borders, transferring displacement into mobility and presence. Living in Merida, Mexico, you stood in a region shaped by its own African diaspora and indigenous traditions. Now in Cape Town, South Africa, you inhabit one of the continent's most iconic sites of both oppression and resistance. These choices reflect not just opportunity, but a deep ancestral rhythm, movement as survival, movement as transformation. The pride you feel is visible in your professional and personal life. You are a leader, a manager, someone responsible for building structures that others depend on. This reflects your ancestral inheritance of institution building and communal responsibility. The sorrow you feel acknowledges what is missing. Photos of my ancestors, names, complete stories. But that sorrow does not weaken your connection. Instead, it calls you to break cycles of silence by preserving what you do know and reclaiming what can still be found. Your ancestors endured movement imposed upon them. You choose movement as a way to reclaim presence, to build a life in places that carry both memory and resistance. In doing so, you turn ancestral displacement into global reconnection. Their silence becomes your voice, and their survival becomes your legacy of leadership. It goes on to talk about, my ancestral history from Nigeria, the Yoruba people, also the Fulani people, in Sierra Leone, the Mende and Timne people. I also have heritage that links back to Liberia and New Equatorial Guinea. And if you know anything about me, you know that I've gone through a spiritual transition, and I've kind of broken away from mainstream religion and am looking back towards what my ancestors believed in. And, as I was doing this report, I thought about some of the superstitions that my grandmother had and some of the things that she did as I was growing up. I'm like, is it really superstition, or was she carrying the traditions of our people that were passed down to her? Example was, we were not allowed to cut our hair unless it was a new moon. You were not allowed to throw away your hair. You had to burn your hair. You're not allowed to split poles. There were certain different things my grandmother believed in that we carried on, that I believe were part of my ancestry that was passed on to her. And those things I want to learn more about. I want to dig deeper into. As I'm learning that we're all interconnected, whether it's the tree, the grass, the sun, the moon, like we're all interconnected, we're all one. And then once we all realize that, then, that's when the world is going to be a better place. So looking at this report, it just brought a lot of pride, a lot of sorrow, but more so pride, because what this tells me is my ancestry is strong, because if my people had given up, then I would not be here. And because they did not give up, I am here. That means I can't give up, and I have to encourage the next to not give up. We are all here for a purpose, and it's up to us to decide, if we're going to give in to that, or if we're going to do the worldly things. So this report was provided to me by Tammy Garcia. She's an amazing woman. She is, I believe, from a Dominican Republic. And so what she's been doing is helping people to research and learn more about who they are, connect them to their cultural roots. And so she did this report for me. Again, I do know that all Black people are not from Africa. I do know that we're indigenous all over the world. But I specifically traced my roots back to Western Africa. And to learn more about each of those areas, to learn more about how those areas and those practices impact me now, it was just super amazing. So again, her name is Tammy Garcia. Feel free to reach out to her. But I say all that to say, despite what anybody else has to say about the choices that my husband and I make, we're good with the choices that we make. We decided that we did not want to stay in one spot. And, people say, oh, what about family? We love family. And, some family didn't even see us when we were there. But we still love them, and we still communicate and all that. It doesn't mean that you have to stick and stay in one spot just because somebody else tells you what you're supposed to do. You have one life to live. You live your life the way that you want to live your life. You don't have to answer to anybody else but yourself, your family, your immediate family that's with you, and your God, whoever you worship. That's it. So if you decide that you want to stay where you are, by all means, do that. If you decide that you want to live in 15 different countries, if that's what the universe calls you to do, then you go and do it. Again, you only have one life to live. People have fought for you to be here. People have lost their lives for you to be here. So think about your ancestors. Think about what would make them proud. Think about the things that they couldn't do that you are able to do, and take advantage of those things, whether it's travel, whether it's education, whether it's going to therapy. Go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. Learn how to swim. Do whatever you need to do for you and for your ancestors, and continue to break those binds and show your children that there is much more out there. Even if you can't get out there, set your children up to go out there for success. Set them up to travel the world. Set them up to go to college, even if you didn't. Don't hold your family back just because you want to have the comfort of having them next to you. Let them grow. Let them fly. Let them flourish. Let them do their own thing. And that's what we're doing. It could be difficult. I get it, because we raised our children that way. And now, they're looking at traveling all over the globe without us. Does it hurt? Yeah, I'm going to miss my babies, but we raised them that way. We raised them to be global citizens. We raised them to, think about other people's cultures. But what that also has done is taught them more about themselves, and taught them to love and respect other people, regardless of what they look like and what color they are. Support. Again, her name is Tammy Tammy Garcia. And again, it's just confirmation. Do what you need to do for your family. Live your life. Love your life. You have one. You're not guaranteed to live to 60, 80, not even guaranteed to live to damn 40. I mean, look, my mom, none of my grandmother's children lived to see 60. None of them. And I'm 45. So people can say whatever they want to say about me and my husband. I really don't give a fill in the blank, because we are doing us. We're not bothering nobody. We're minding our Black-owned business. And we are living in freaking South Africa. So I am loving it. Say what you want. It's not going to change my glory. So thank you all who listened. And again, check out your DNA. Learn about your ancestry. Pass it on to your children. Start holding little keepsakes. Like what I've done now is like my grandmother's stuff, my mother's stuff. I'm saving those things to pass on to my children. I don't have anything from my great-grandmother on my grandmother's side or my great-grandfather. I don't know what they look like because all that was taken from us. But what I can do now is start building that history, keeping those pictures, keeping the keepsakes, the furniture, and passing that on to my children and then to their children. So I encourage you to do the same. It's never too late to start building your history. So I've talked enough. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.